Yo, I'm Bob. Totally blind since birth, into Power Rangers. Got the Shout Factory box set in my hands, talking about Season 2, Episode 13, or Episode 73 overall. This one's Green No More, Part 2 of 2. It premiered on September 28th in 1994. I'd see this for the first time in the summer of 95 because I wasn't able to watch this when it premiered, but man, I wish I had been one of those lucky kiddos as they were watching this on the 2 days it premiered. So in this episode, we get to see the Rangers out of their suits for about half of the episode. And it's one of my favorites because they have to rely on their wits in order to best Turban Shell and Lord Zed. And we see Tommy doing that right off the bat as the episode commences. So Turban Shell, he's still gloating about it being all over for Tommy. You know, he's powerless and Turban Shell's just laughing at him. And I remember my brother laughing quite a bit seeing this powerful monster being bested by this kid. No Ranger costume, no Dragon Dagger, but he's relying on the martial arts that he knows. This kid has won tournament after tournament, and I mean, he's just using what he knows in terms of self-defense to help him win the day. So you've got that going on. I love the scene with Lord Zed, being arrogant in the other world, and he is just gloating away, talking about how he's going to send the kids back to Angel Grove with no powers, where they'll be helpless to watch as Turban Shell demolishes the city. I looked over at my brother when this scene was going on, when watching it for the first time, and I remember asking him, oh, he's really not going to do this, is he? How does he think this is going to go? And then I remember answering my own question. Well, of course he is, because he's Lord Zed, and he's arrogant. I mean, this guy is used to conquering galaxies. He's not used to being beaten by 6 kids on a weekly basis. So yeah, he just sends them back to Angel Grove, no powers. This is probably one of the darkest moments for the Rangers anyway. And Zed being Zed, he's probably thinking, what are these kids going to do? They can't even contact Alpha and Zordon. I've got the command center prime for imploding. Remember that energy crystal is causing an energy field to slowly compress around the command center. So that's going on. Billy and the others make for his lab. And you've got Goldar showing up in another part of the other world as Turban Shell's not doing so hot. And I love Goldar here. He's been waiting for this moment for quite a while now. He has had it in for Tommy since Tommy turned good and betrayed everyone in Season 1. And so he sends Turban Shell on his way. And he conjures up this time device. And he's going to show Tommy all of these past scenes. And I always wondered if Goldar had practiced that little bit of dialogue that he's delivering here. Maybe stood in front of a mirror or something and practiced it for quite a while. Says something like, look at how great you used to be. Look at how powerful you used to be. You and your powerful Dragon Zord. Why, you must have saved the Earth over 100 times. You were always there for your friends, so on and so forth. Always willing to sacrifice yourself. Always right there when they needed you to be, no matter how bad things were. Tommy's not saying anything. Goldar's just laughing about how it's all over. Hardy har har har, you know, just being as arrogant as Lord Zed. Goldar learned from the best, Zed and Rita. So you've got that going on. Billy manages to contact Alpha and Zordon. He manages to tap into the communications grid with his humble little lab computer there. And so he's at least able to talk to them. But it's all up to Tommy. And Goldar wants Tommy to say that he's his superior. He wants Tommy to say that he's beaten, say that Goldar is victorious, something along those lines. And there's a really tense moment. Of course, anybody who knows Tommy knows that that's not how it's going to go. Tommy's just kind of egging Goldar on, kind of keeping him waiting for it. He's like, Goldar, you are. Goldar's like, yes, come on, say it. Tommy's like, out of your mind. And then he just goes in, and you have Ron Wasserman's Green Ranger theme playing in the background. You have the electric guitar blaring. and Tommy manages to get the time device back from Goldar. I would imagine he's probably wailing all over Goldar here, and Tommy delivers this fantastic bit of dialogue, something along the lines of, your little picture show reminded me something, Goldar, about the good I did, not just as the Green Ranger, but as me, plain old Tommy. You know, he's like, I almost gave up on myself, but you reminded me of all the good I've done as just me. And that's why Zordon chose these kids. That's why he ultimately picked all 6 of these kids, not just because they look good in Ranger costumes, not just because they look great piloting Zords or wielding power weapons. He picked them because they're good kids. They do charity work outside of school. They see someone in need, they automatically want to help them. It doesn't matter how dark things are. These kids are instantaneously going to give of themselves. That's why Zordon chose them, and it's something that Rita and Zed and Goldar never figure out. Good, selflessness, these are things that are foreign to these villains. So yeah, Tommy gets the time device back from Goldar, sends him elsewhere with it. He contacts past Tommy. I guess he gets his communicator, teleports out of there. He's back in Billy's lab. They're talking to Alpha and Zordon. Zordon lets him know somebody's going to have to go into Zed's other world, and Tommy volunteers. Zed's not going to be able to detect whoever it is outside of the Ranger costume, so he decides to go in there, and he smashes that green crystal while Zed's talking to his Dark Rangers, and of course the Dark Rangers are depowered. I think the crystal had something to do with powering these Dark Rangers. So Zed is screaming, no, 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 over and over again, saying it's impossible that he's been defeated. But I'm sorry to tell you, Zed, you sent these kids back to Angel Grove. If you'd sent them to a forest or some kind of, Australian outback, which we'll see later in season 2, if you sent them somewhere where there was no technology, maybe things would have gone differently, pal. But your arrogance was your undoing. So sorry. So Tommy gets the morphers as well, teleports back to the lab. All of them morph, even Tommy, because shattering that crystal gave him one last boost so he could have one last fight as the Green Ranger. I wish I'd been able to see this on premiere day. Not knowing what was going to happen in the future, this must have been a great episode, thinking that, yeah, this is Tommy's last bout. And so, Turban Shell's giant already, so they have to summon the Thunder Zords. He immediately launches this attack so powerful that Thunder Megazord separates. He says something like, you shouldn't play with sticks like that. So I always wondered if he had this trident that you could create from Red Dragon's Thunder Zord's staff and Firebird's tail. You could combine them toy-wise anyway to make this trident. I don't really know if we ever got to see that trident weapon in the show, but you could do it with a toy. Anyway, the Zords are separated. Tommy has got to be eaten by Turban Shell. Zordon lets him know that, the monster's weakness is heat. You got to get in there. So he's got a mega heater from Billy. Guess Billy always invents things on the fly. He had something just for this occasion. So yeah, he gets in this big cart of fruit. Turban Shell eats him. Tommy's blasting him from the inside. I love the indigestion jokes Turban Shell is making there. Zach, he gets a water hose because they're going to have to, freeze him from the outside. It must be really, really cold water there. I don't know. So yeah, Turban Shell pukes up Tommy. He is considerably weakened because of the heat and the cold combo. The Thunder Megazord is reformed, and they finish the monster off with that Thunder Saber Slash there. And it's just a legendary episode. It's one of my favorite Tommy-centric episodes. So the episode ends, of course, with the Rangers making pals with the Dark Rangers. They've been teleported home with no memory from what happened in the other world. So the Rangers buy them sodas. I remember thinking as a kid, man, I wish that would kind of be how real life would go. You could just buy someone who's picking on you a soda and be like, hey, yeah, you want to start over? So, they made some friends. We won't be seeing these kids again, though. They were just kind of a one and done thing. And I remember this is one of the things I'd wished we'd gotten to see in this episode was Ranger on Ranger action. The Dark Rangers getting into a fight with our heroes. both sets of Rangers in the suits. I guess I thought this was going to be a three-parter. My brother didn't want to give it away that, the Dark Rangers don't really do anything. But it was still a schmabulous episode, as Krusty the Clown would say. And we get the Rangers back in the command center at the very end of the episode. And they're congratulating Tommy for saving everyone, not having any powers, just relying on his wits, being that exceptional guy Zordon always knew him to be. That's what did it. And they do the Power Rangers hand thingy one last time. So I remember this episode being the talk of the lunch table after it had aired. Not having seen it, I did hear just little bits and pieces about it. I tried to be spoiler free, but I mean you really couldn't be. And I don't mind, picking up on this and that from my brother and friends. Didn't mind it back in the day either. And I remember after the episode was over, I think it was that day or the next day, hearing rumblings. Like this one kid was at a Walmart and he was like, I saw this white Tiger Zord toy. We were all thinking he was just fooling, because remember, this was back in the day when you didn't have the internet to leak stuff. And he's like, there's a White Ranger at Walmart. It's this big doll looking thing, but it's a White Ranger, and there's a Tiger Zord, and it comes with a White Ranger. And we're like, what? No, what are you talking about? It sounded like the coolest thing ever. And yes, of course, the toys were already out. Even though White Ranger would not be showing up for a couple of weeks, I think those toys must have hit shelves in late September. I don't know, because I don't know when the release dates were back in the day. There's probably a guide online that'll tell you, when this stuff hit shelves. But I remember wanting to believe it. I don't remember ragging the kid about it. I was like, I wish you were telling the truth, man, or something like that. And he's like, I am. We're going to get a White Ranger. And it was kind of a cool little tidbit that dropped on us all after this two-parter. And it was either a day or a couple days after the episode. It might have been a week later. I think it was a kid named Dale, or maybe it was my friend Zach. One of them had been in a Walmart, and little did we know that this was a glimpse of something that we would all be seeing on October 17th and 18th, just a few weeks away. I would be there for that two-parter. But next time, we're going to be talking about Missing Green and how Jason is dealing with Tommy losing his powers. It's one of my favorite Jason-centric episodes, so be here for that. May their power protect you, and until next time.